I want to start with Juan's suggestion, and maybe we can make this a tradition of our call, that every week somebody suggests a question to ask the group. So all the curiosities we have of each other are accomplished. So what was your question, Juan?
To say something that we are grateful for this week. And I'm grateful because yesterday was my birthday, and it was a really good birthday. I was with my family, I was with my friends. A lot of people from the TEC community gave me best wishes, and I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here because the tech has given me a lot of passion in my work, and to value also my studies and my field of action. And I pass to Jessica.
Was it what we're grateful for? I didn't hear the first part.
Yeah, something you're grateful for in this last week.
Okay. Oh, I know. Over the weekend, I had some amazing circle with some women friends, and we went out for, we did some crazy, I don't know, dance parties, and we played drums and handpan, and we went on this big hike. We walked on the beach and all the way on these logs and over rocks, and we went to this beautiful waterfall, and we ate soup, and it was just so nice because I haven't had much time in women's circle and been nomading a lot. So it was nice to be in community and be in nature. And I didn't go on the screen for 2 days, which is probably the most I've been off screen in months. So yeah, I pass to Mateo.
Jessica, thanks. I'm envy of you because that sounds amazing. The 2 days without screen, I desire that. So yeah, I'm grateful for many things that have been happening in here in Barranquilla with Huanca and the Ethereum Caribe community. Also, that I'm trying to give a little more value to the TC. And all of my responsibilities are going to give it up development. So want to jump in this community a little more greater. So yeah, I'm really grateful to have started participating in these calls. And yeah, that's it. I'll pass it to Livia.
Thank you. I'm really grateful for having all of you guys here. It is very important for me to work with something that I feel excited about and that I'm always enjoying and feeling happy about it. And also grateful for my weekend, that I also had some off-screen time. We had a divorce party for for a friend that got divorced, and we had a very Mexican style party for it, and we danced a lot, and it was a lot of fun. And I passed to Santi.
I'm grateful also for the weekend. It was the first weekend I was able to go sailing for years now, and it was really nice to just relax on the boat. It's a French boat. We didn't go too long, just a couple of hours sailing in front of town, but just feeling the waves on the air with the sails was amazing. I had been doing that for quite a while, and it was really nice to be able to enjoy it again. I'll pass it to Zeptimus.
I'm grateful. Maybe not. It's not happening that week, but the moment we're living right now, it's the best moment we could ever live. Like right now, even with all the coronavirus stuff going on, we're still connected, from all around the world, and that's beautiful. and I'll pass it to Gref that just jump off.
As to who? To Craig?
So yeah, we're talking about the things we're grateful for this week.
I am grateful for the lovely weather that I'm currently able to enjoy, amongst many other things. Am I last? Is anybody left?
Atta is still.
Me.
Atta is still.
Yeah, so should I? So last week there was a lockdown in London, and my best friend was living there. Because of the lockdown, I was telling him how beautiful life in Istanbul was, and how good of an escape could that be. And the next day he called me and said that he was here in my city. So this week I had a lot of time with my friends, showing him around and getting him to a nice apartment, and just like enjoying Istanbul with him, going to cafes and working together, etc. So it was a pleasant week. That's what I'm grateful for.
That's awesome. Thanks, everyone. So I think we can jump off into this, jump in this amazing list of issues that I have for us all. I'll share my screen. And here we are. Can you see it? Okay, so I made a board we all made a board for the working groups. And here, Softgov working group, these are the issues that we have. So I put most of the issues of this list here on GitHub. So all of the principles are addressed somehow. And some of them are more urgent than others. And I also made a forum post yesterday with like a synthesized version of everything we talked about last week for the contribution reward mechanisms. So we said that we were going to experiment with Sourcecred, and there is an issue here for that. Where is that? Great. Automated options for onboarding and rewarding system. I think that's it. Oh yeah. Post hatch rewards. Okay, these two have to be merged somehow, but it would be really cool if we can research a little bit more other types of contribution reward systems. The onboarding working group made an amazing doc here, also giving like more of an in-depth look into the praise system and how we could improve it. So all of this is in this forum post. So please take a look in there, add comments, add suggestions, and maybe we can start experimenting with one or another. And then also I wanted to check on Mateo and Santi that you guys said you were willing to work on the Sourcecred experimentation, and just hear like if there was if you could look into something this week, or yeah, if you have any thoughts on that, and if you need anything to move forward.
Actually, I was in touch with Ben from Sourcecred, and he invited me to their community call. It's taking place right after this call at 11 o'clock Pacific time. So I plan to jump into. He said that that's the best way to just propose or discuss a new implementation of Sourcecred instance. So I'm just going to join there and explain them what we would like to in the future, and see what we would need. I already know more or less everything that you need to tweak, the different sources that you can. Right now they have 3 sources, although they are working on adding some more. But right now you can use GitHub, you can use forum, and you can use Discord. And what you have to do is tweak all the the different amount of leverage that you give to every single one of these sources and channels, and of course decide if you want to use just some of them or all of them. But I'm going to just join that call today and talk to them directly, meet them. Except for Ben, that I've had a chance to once in a while. I don't know me, so suggested to just jump in the call today and just share it with them and see what they can help with.
Me from my development side, I tried to reach out Kai so he could help me a little bit more because he has experience setting that up for the Giveth reward system. So I'm trying to do that this week. Last one I didn't have much time slot for that, but this one for sure will happen in the next days. I'll try to bring more updates on that and probably see as well what Santi gathers in that community call and maybe sync up both efforts.
Amazing. Thanks, guys, for the updates. I just saw Santi that you shared in there. Thank you. And yeah, we can write all in the issue and communicate through there also. Yeah, and it would be amazing if we can research a little bit other options too, because as we were talking in the conflict management calls, Optimus was saying how Sourcecred can easily be gamified, and of course it's an alternative for us, but how, like, it seems like it's still not the ideal. Like, what would be like the perfect ideal case? And maybe we're far from that, but just to like start to, I don't know, brainstorm around it. And I think it was really cool, the document that the onboarding crew made. So we can, of course, experiment with Sourcecred, continue experimenting with praise, and hopefully developing like an even better middle way from there. And other issue that I would love to pick, like to give a direction to in this call, is, I think it was Shem that said it last time. He's in the tech spec call right now, but about making these labs, this share it again, making these onboarding labs where every week we have like a 30-minute session that someone explains a topic for the community, and this topic could be variety topics. And yeah, just so we have like a better understanding of everything that's happening on a video like chat format. So just curious if anyone would like to grab one of those. Like, for example, Juan, you could make like a 30-minute onboarding into the conflict management, and like what is something that you guys are super interested that you would like to teach or to share that knowledge with people. And it could be like the most varied types of knowledge that are somehow related with the TC.
Yeah, I like it. It's just to schedule what week could be the best, and I would gladly participate on it.
Can I put you as a sharing about conflict in one session? Nice.
Yes, please. Yes.
Anybody else? Zaptimus, do you want to talk about how gaming is so interconnected with the commons?
No. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not ready to lead a call right now.
Onboarding lab session.
Okay. So if nobody else, we can move to the next one. That
I actually had a quick a question. I forgot. I just didn't want to interrupt, but I thought we'd have more space. So as far as the rewards proposal, I'm really behind and haven't had a chance to catch back up. Santi, is there anything else you would like for feedback on that for your work, or anything else I can help with? I haven't even had a chance to go and look through all the comments that everybody did.
No, actually, it's great that Mateo is doing also some work in that direction, because I'm not a technical guy, and definitely we would need help to deploy the instance of Sourcecred if we finally decide to move forward and test with it. So I'm more into how to tweak all the different parameters that we can play with. One thing which is great is that, of course, there is no perfect option, and we're going to have to play with different ones until we finally feel comfortable with one or several ones. But the fact that one hype is running through this gaming and is dealing with it, and it's finding solutions to it, it's great, because we can learn from their experience and implement whatever they find out it works for them, if we think it's going to be working for us. So after I get into that call later on, I'll get in touch with you, Mateo, and we can discuss the best way to sort of define a way to implement it, if we ever decide to go for it, and from there, we'll be just about ready to do so.
So yes, there's like two sides to the work. There's like the technical and back end that we need to test and play with a little bit. And then there's the front end of integrating all the feedback and comments and actually going through with submitting a proposal to the community, which we have definitely time for. So I guess when do you think we should be submitting the proposal, so I can kind of prioritize with my work? Because I do want to continue to help on integrating that feedback and work on the proposal with you, maybe, Santi. What are your thoughts about timeline?
Well, I think before deciding to put the proposal on, we should make sure we understand exactly the needs that we have technically, and once we are clear with that, it's great that we sit together with you and see how to move forward with the proposal and with all the discussions internally.
Okay, awesome.
So I'd say after I meet these guys later on today, and I have a talk with Mateo, with all the inputs that I get from that call. Well, maybe we should have another one. Maybe next week I can update you with all the informations, and from there we can move forward.
Great.
From my side, I want to check with Kai that he in Github build that implementation. So I want to see how feasible it is to almost do the same for the TC. So it is kind of the same, but I think TC uses more Telegram and Discord than we do in Github. So maybe we do need to add some more complexity to that. So after I check that, maybe, as Santi said, we can find a better time scope for that proposal, for sure.
Okay, great. So just 2 notes then. Thank you. That's so helpful. So I have time. And yeah, just poke me or pull me in when you get to the front end discussion. And also, I wanted to keep Chris in the loop as well, because he's actually working on a Discord for Common Stack, and we'll also be looking to do some kind of rewards implementation. I don't know with Sourcecred. It might just be a praise bot is going to be the first iteration, but I think he would appreciate if we can just loop him in. So I'll add him to the GitHub, and I'll send him the document.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coordinating on that. And I think the issues we can coordinate async. Also, if any of you would like to jump into an issue, just let me know. We can all talk about it during the week. And there's a lot to be done. And some of them are really fun, actually. And I wish I had time to like put into all of them. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of behavioral analysis to be done to implement the Ostrom principles. And we are starting the book club next week. So we still have to decide a time. And I'll suggest a few and see what works best for you guys if you want to participate. But we talked with the DAO book club guys. There is a server for that. Aaron is running a Federalist and an anti-Federalist book clubs. I'm there every week, and they opened a new server for us for governing the commons. And they also have a Penvala grant. So in every meeting, we can raffle 1,000 pen that goes to one of the people that attended the call. So it's really cool, and we're going to start doing our book club there. And I would love also if it was a rotative facilitation. So it's not only me facilitating, but anyone that feels like particularly driven to one chapter or to one subject and wants to lead a discussion around that, we can coordinate. So yeah, more info around that will come soon. And I know Atta is interested and wants to help on that too. And then for the next 30 minutes, I would like to propose a discussion. It's something that popped up for me really strong this week. I was reading into the Miro board, seeing all the contributions, all the notes that are there. And one of them that had kind of like passed over my head first was something that Grace wrote about how Satalia manages their system. And I posted a little bit on the chat. I don't know if anybody followed. But they had, at least for a long time, a system where they didn't promote anything. It was only based on people's intrinsic motivation. So you would only find something that you're interested about, and nobody would tell you what to do. And then I started to think in the grand scheme of things of how would life even be if we were never told what to do by the media, by people, by like a bazillion narratives fighting for our attention. And some of them are loud enough that they grab our attention. But it feels like after a while we are connected almost through a fake plug into everything. And my personal research is a lot around intrinsic motivation. So what is that you feel motivated about if there's no one telling you what to do anything? And I think it was amazing that Jess asked that question in comms of what would you do every day if you could, because I think it talks a lot about the intrinsic motivation. So I just wanted to pass around and hear from you guys. How do you think we could build a system that it's more intrinsically driven rather than loud incentives and promotions. And I think this is an exit route to the reward punishment system. Right now, we are building a reward and punishment system. And I think, I don't know any system that it's not a punishment and reward, but I would like to investigate. I'm curious about that. I'm sorry if I just rambled a lot, said a lot of information, but I'm curious to hear what are your thoughts around that, around intrinsic motivation and how we can all like make the system more, more towards that direction.
I guess I'll jump in since everybody's a little shy today. Yeah, I would say I think intrinsic motivation comes a lot from care. I feel like when you care for people, it doesn't matter how busy you are, it doesn't matter what else you have on your plate, you want to help them. So I think, when we develop personal relationships and we develop, care and love for each other as humans, then we are naturally wanting to help those people that we love. So I think like doing this in kind of a project environment is exactly what we're like exploring into, and virtually how to develop like this level of care and personal relationships despite never having met each other in person, despite, and I think that's going really well so far, and why we see so many people contributing. And the second thing, I think with intrinsic motivation, it also has to deal with reciprocity. So there's like psychological response that's very well documented that if somebody gives you something, then you feel like you should also give back. Like our neighbor came the other day and gave us some smoked salmon. And then we were like, oh man, how sweet. People still do that in this day and age during COVID. Like, so we went and then we made an apple crisp and we brought him some apple crisp. So it's like, how can we give our community smoked salmon? And so they, you don't give to receive. Like ideally, and what my grandmother taught me and what I constantly work on is like, love is actually giving without expecting a return. And I often find myself expecting return. And I guess that's the ego. But yeah, I guess what you brought up, Livy, today about highlighting the projects within our community, it's like asking always what we can give. And I think that's the big thing with a lot of projects and DAOs and work that I've done, is especially in marketing, is like, oh, what can we get out of people and what can we extract from people and what do we want them to do versus like, no, how can we like give and serve first and just know that it's going to come back. But I think this all ties into intrinsic motivation. So
well, I think also think about intrinsic motivation is the capacity of growth and recognition. And I think that we are doing it good because I've tried before to approach to decentralized organizations, and sometimes I felt that like people wasn't into other sciences and or other kinds of applications. So I think that an intrinsic motivation is to feel that you can collaborate and that you are important. I think that that's a very important thing, because sometimes you feel that you're giving ideas and like people doesn't follow you, or like they don't value too much what you are trying to say or to do. So I think that is a very good thing. And I think that gratefulness is a very good thing to promote intrinsic motivations, because I think that when you're grateful with someone and then that other person is grateful with you, that can make that bond of trust, and to have that close friends feeling that can help you to go through, whatever it takes to continue with that relation.
Can you pass to?
To Mateo.
Pass to.
To Mateo.
Okay, sure. I wanted to refer to something that Jessica said, that, well, that's how I interpret it, and it's how are, or what topic or task are you willing to give more than to take? Actually, I think that's the sense of altruism and all of the value generation that we are actually uh, uh, setting values here on. So I think that a way maybe to measure how the actors or the participant of this community would offer is to measure what kind of topics or tasks or maybe responsibilities are you actually willing to give more than to take, or receive recognition or some kind of rewards. So in some kind of way, in the onboarding process, or which work group are you going to be in, we could also ask that, like, what's your passion, what are your ambition on the value that you are offering, etc. So I think that is a good way to see how people are, how much people are interested in providing value without that necessity of receiving something. So, and that is linked to the actual passion, just like Juanca is super passionate about politics and conflict resolutions within communities, etc. And I don't know you guys that specifically, so I don't know what's your passion, but I bet that altruism and community building is also one of them. So in that sense, I think maybe we can build a scheme or some kind of onboarding questions to maybe make branches of what topics or fields are people more willing to give more than to receive. That's my input. I don't know if someone else have to say, or I pass it to anyone pointing. Septimus, maybe. Cannot listen to you, man.
You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. I had the. I was saying, when you want to make it like intrinsic motivations, it has to be like with the final goal. For example, on a village where there is a lot of kids and they want to play football, but they don't have a place to play, then all together they go house per house, like calling for signs to make it possible on the village. Like their motivation is having the place to play football, and it doesn't matter who take more signs or who took less. Like they are motivated for that thing, and I think that's the best. Like right now, it's very rewarded system, because I think we really need to make people more involved and what public goods are and why it's so cool to be there. I think that's the more, be part of something. And I'll pass it to Gref. Or Ata. Oh.
Okay. For me, a kind of an intrinsic motivation is this urge to explore and discover things that I'm like curious about and I care about, and doing this with a community of people that unites under the same goal. And I think being part of that sort of ecosystem and building together, playing together, as you mentioned, is just a really fun life experience, and how like I like to spend my time. Yeah, and when I look at it, these kind of like rewards don't come as the primary goal, but of course, I don't sustain myself off of these projects. That's also, I think, a big factor, because this is what I dedicate my like free time to. And so these like rewards, punishments might come for like different groups of people, but for me, it's this intrinsic motivation, this intellectual challenge that I think a lot of people are here to explore together, that drove me in. Yeah. I pass it to Graf if you are taking it this time.
Are you there? I think Santi didn't go too, right? You're muted.
Okay. I think everything has to do with fit. Probably every one of us has some kind of altruistic values. It all depends on doing what you're passionate about and getting recognition from the community. Once you get both of those, you feel you want to give instead of take, or at least you're happy giving away more than taking. So to me, of course, we live in a world where media is hitting us every day. Companies are targeting us, trying to sell their products. If we can give a sense of fit to anyone jumping into our community, showing them what the different areas we're working on, the different tasks that they could get involved in, probably many people are going to be able to find their fit, and of course welcoming them when they jump in, and giving them recognition through whatever way we can. There's going to be a lot of people feeling comfortable intrinsically, offering all they can, because they love what they do. It's when you like what you do, you and you can help someone else doing it. So it's a perfect way to just intrinsically give whatever you can to the community. And I don't know if Greg's still there, or if you want to go.
Yes.
Hi, Griff.
Hey guys.
We're doing a round to talk about intrinsic motivation. Just briefly going through, I was looking into some of the Miro board responses, and there was something interesting about how Satalia had their internal structure for a while, that they didn't promote anything. People had to find what they wanted to work on based on their intrinsic motivation. So So no calls, no activities, nothing was ever promoted. And they had like a crazy successful few years of experimenting with that process, and contributors joining, and yeah, just an interesting flow that made me think of how could we potentially escape the reward and punishment mechanism and be more driven into intrinsic motivation. So we're doing a round where everyone shared now what do they think is the fuel for intrinsic motivation and what does that mean. So everyone talked already, but Craig that was having problems with the internet. Craig, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Nice. Lucky. Just combining, I think, a bit of what Ada and Santi said into empowerment and active participation, I think is a pretty intrinsic motivator, at least for myself, and it seems like a lot of folks in this community, rather than being sort of a sedentary observer with little ability to affect change, actually working at things and participating is a motivator, I think. And I think Griff, you're the only one left.
Well, luckily I can always think of something to say. So yeah, I think intrinsic motivation is generally like always there. When someone shows up, how did they get there, right? They took some action. They were already intrinsically motivated. But people don't just like wake up and fall into the TE Discord and a call or the GitHub or something. So there's already something that's motivating them, something that's driving them. It's going to be different for every person. The big thing is the fuel is the like, we love it. Yes. It's saying yes to them. That improv attitude that we were talking about before, Olivia, where it's like, when people say, hey, I want to do this, we say, yes, that's a great idea. The challenge, of course, is, well, sometimes it's not, or sometimes we have a limited scope, or deadlines or things can be distractions from. I think after the launch, intrinsic motivation will be way easier to coddle and to support, because really we can do anything. We have the deployment up, everything's set. And it is this like conviction voting is there. If you have an idea, put it up there and let's see if people support it. But it'll be hard because some people might not. I don't know, that's my take.
Nice. Yeah, something that I'm seeing, a pattern that I'm seeing from all the I took notes of all the answers, and I think there's something about creating an environment where people feel safer to express their passions or to be or to feel like they can be driven by their passions and to be themselves and to do something that they find useful. I think Jess said something that it's really good about what is the topic in which you are willing to give more than to take. And that's probably finding what is that like source of intrinsic motivation. And maybe I think that the balance is just like how to maintain a balance between this and the incentives that we have, like the impact hours and the multiple reward contribution mechanisms that we can interact with, but having the base to be the intrinsic motivation, so people don't feel so inclined to game the system. Does anybody have any more thoughts after listening to everyone, or want to share more about what is your passion specifically on participating in the project that you are participating? Or is there something that that you don't feel comfortable like in this. For example, there is a ton of issues to be taken, and there is a lot of people in, not only in this call, but there is a lot of people that join the TEC and are like, I want to collaborate. And what is that gap between I want to collaborate and here you can collaborate? But then what is the link missing? Does that have to do with people's passion and the way they are involved, you think?
I just want to say with comms working group, just want to share, like, I've had some people, because things change, right? Like things are always fluid and people are excited and then they realize like, oh God, actually I have so many things on my plate. And I think one of the biggest things too is understanding, like a big thing for a lot of people is they don't want to let people down. So I am always telling people like overly like, hey, we are grateful. We know we are not paying you. We know this isn't your main project. Like this is all opt-in. We have our reward system, but like we will never like guilt or pressure anybody if you can't make it to a call. We never want it to be like an obligation. We always want it to be like a joyful process of giving and contributing when you feel motivated. So maybe, I don't know how that fits into what we're crafting here, but just having that understanding. I think also some people don't take on issues because they don't want to let people down, and maybe they don't know what is successful and what would be failing, and most people don't want to fail. So how can we support this process and also making people feel like it's okay if you take something on and then you actually are like, oh, actually I don't have time, I don't understand, or to get rid of this like fear of failure, or that you're gonna be like shunned, or you let us down because you didn't do this thing that you're so like nicely giving to this whole community. And this has come up already in comms working group, and I've had to be like, I extra want to let people know, like, please don't, because that's the bane of any relationship is obligation. So
yeah, maybe there's something in being able to like, even if they can't finish it, making sure that their work is still used. It's not just fear of failure, but fear of wasting everyone's time. And like, I really like the GitHub issues as a place where we can like, sure, take it on for a minute. Add a link. Boom! Wow, thank you. And if that's all you get done, that's cool because it's there in the GitHub issue, and whoever finished takes it on. It's like a relay race, And that even if they just add one link or one comment, that's a success.
Yeah, I think that works as a reverse psychology of the accountability problem. It's like, because everyone has so much pressure on like, you have to finish this, and then probably people like go away exactly because of what you said, of like all these fears of disappointing. So maybe the more loose it is and more supportive, more people feel accountable to something because they are intrinsically motivated to do that, and they're not doing because they feel like it's an obligation.
Man, I'm learning from my own relationship, just reflecting all this. Like, oh wait, I've been doing that. It's like group therapy / Softgov.
Well, I think other motivation could be like joining the decentralized ecosystem, joining decentralized organizations, because for me, like I think this is a feeling we have like in South America now less than before, but that a common organization, decentralized organizations are really far away, and they are like this, like that you need to be really, really technical to be inside of them, and we have to make it feel more than anyone can participate, and focusing also on all these people that is not yeah, like not in the main careers that are associated to this. And I think also that another motivation also is necessity. And here in third world countries, we also have a lot of necessity. Like people need to feed their families, and we are in a economic trap. So like any chance we have to earn crypto is also a way to escape our weak economies, and to like also have like yeah a safe boat, like, and to add to our normal salaries. So I think that like publishing that, hey, publishing a lot of the impact hours, and that it's easy to contribute, can like help us to have a lot of people that could not only do this like philanthropically, but also do this like looking for yeah, for their sustainment.
Yeah, for sure. Sustaining yourself is still a big motivation for most of the people in this planet. And we only have 6 minutes left now. And I think this was a really great discussion. And probably we can transform this in some type of, I don't know if this could come into some type of manifesto, or in our soft governance rules, or how do we start to put this in words and in ways that are easy to communicate to others, that this is our culture, that we really appreciate intrinsically motivated people, and that we want to create a safe space for that, and that you can do as little as you can, and that it's already super helpful. If you guys want, I have some notes, so I'll put down in an issue, and if you want to help me craft, I think this is part of the narrative. What do you think, Jess? Of like also the comms and the mural board, of having this as our approach, like our soft approach.
Yeah, definitely this is important, especially communicating with contributors and in our materials. So I guess, yeah, it's important to have in our minds, and I'm not sure, and I'm open to hearing more about how you want to integrate this. So maybe next week we're going to do a session in the comms working group with that story canvas and turning that into like a strategy, a more actionable document. But of course, like these Softgov insights are needed. So maybe we can like brainstorm a little bit more specifically about how we can bring in these elements. I kind of have it in the back of my mind, but yeah, would love some more thoughts and kind of brainstorming on how we make this more verbal. Because I think some of like we have different awareness of this, but how do we actually speak that to our community, and what does that look like, and integrating that? So happy to.
I would love to, yeah. I would love to transform this into some type of metrics, and maybe we can think about that, Ata, on like, is there any way to measure how participation happens before we adopt some type of narrative, and how participation happens after we adopt that another narrative, and how can we start communicating this so people start participating more in the issues, for example, and this could be like a metric of success of our approach. I don't know if it's as easy as it is in my head. Probably not, but maybe we can try.
The framework sounds great, but yeah, in terms of like creating that metric, I think we can come up with some ways. Yeah.
I have some quick idea that just came up. In that sense, the intrinsic motivation becomes the first real intention of actually doing something, but that intrinsic motivation need to become the recurrent motivation that translates into the incentives that we are working on. So the participation is recurrent, and it eventually becomes in a wave of value generation. So I think that there comes the term that Septimus was referring in the beginning of gamification, in where we may find a way that all these incentives and proposals and all value that people will be giving initially with their intrinsic motivation and then recurring motivation will be in the end a flow where everyone will be offering value and getting something, but of course you are more interested in giving more than to receive. But the game design will be designed to keep you interested in generating more value as you advance. So maybe we can find a way to mold that into something more of a model of participation and an incentive generation, yeah, with gamification.
I love that. Yeah, that could come into the onboarding.
Plus,
Right.
and again, I also think it's something to be worked between communications, working group, self-governance, and onboarding. And I think there's probably two areas we should focus, because sometimes a decentralized organization may be a little bit intimidating to someone who's never jumped into one. And to me, there's a task of inviting someone to jump in, making the organization, making them feel comfortable to jump in. And once they are in, what Matteo said, trying to find the ways to gamify and give them, reward them so they keep contributing on a continuous way. But there's two goals here. And I think for many people who's never been into a decentralized organization, they get lost. They might get lost. And we might lose them because they just don't know how to land into the organization. Okay. And that's my personal feeling.
Adding to that, that's my first time on a decentralized organization. To be honest, at the beginning I was like, what when my friend told me like you should join here, like you're gonna learn a lot, and I was like, I was really lost. Like, but when I joined, I feel like it was a flow. So it's actually good. Like the thing we have to do is remove the fear of like this is super weird stuff, like, because it's not. It's actually not. I feel like it was in a flow. Like I'm not tech, not anything, and I really feel very welcome. And yeah, I think we're doing a good job. It's just need to communicate. Like there is nothing like it's not that hard. We have very good introduction to people.
Guys, I'm gonna have to leave you. I'm gonna jump out in the Sourcecred meeting room. So I will update you next week, and I'll talk to Matteo after I meet these guys. Okay.
Thanks, Santi. We can close too.
Yeah.
Anyone else wants to share anything, feel free. Otherwise, we can close the call.
I wanted to ask if there is any way we have access to data from activities in GitHub. Like, can we track participation in GitHub from some?
What kind of activities are you trying to track? Because yes, for sure, that's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Data's
So
there.
Livia was mentioning like trying to use this metric of first after the communication effort of explaining the our approach to this intrinsic motivation and encouraging people and trying to make it easier for people to participate in like small pieces of activities, can we actually track how like the change in number of like small issues taken by newcomers, and like how much of the work is not done by the core circle and how much is done by these like small participants, and how does that change?
Yeah, so we're just starting to use GitHub now. So I feel like there's not so much of previous data on collaborators, but now we want to like bring everyone to GitHub. And then whenever people start accomplishing issues, you'll be able to see what issues were done by each people, I think, right, Griff?
Definitely. We'll have to be liberal with assigning people issues. Right now, they have to be a member of the org to be easily assigned to it. So there's a little bit of a friction there of like, and I think this is like the contributor. We're kind of talking about the contribution ladder, you start as like, I'm just a guy in the chat room, and then, oh, I got some praise. Okay, now, hey, I want to take on a task. Oh, okay, now, I want to dish praise. Oh, now I'm all the way to, I'm a community steward. I'm leading a working group, that ladder, which few of you have climbed.
Yeah, praise is the best data source we have now. Like everything is there, everything that was done.
Oh, and you've been creating sheets of this manually for quite some time, right? Yeah, let's look into them.
I have to run too, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, let's look into the sheets.
Thank you. Great discussion, Livy. Thanks for always giving us the space to talk about these important things.